The Australia Telecom outage is a warning that support content is part of search visibility. What the Australia Telecom outage showed about search visibility during failure. The strangest thing about a major outage is how quickly it turns into a search problem. 1 minute people are trying to make a call or check a train, and the next they're typing fragments into Google because the system they relied on has gone quiet. At that point, visibility stops being a marketing metric and becomes part of the customer experience. When Australia's largest telecom company suffered a major outage that disrupted trains and emergency calls, the failure moved far beyond customer service and into public news, as reported in the BBC. That kind of event changes behavior fast. People stop browsing and start hunting for answers. E-commerce sees the same pattern every time checkout breaks. A payment gets declined, a login loop appears. Or shipping falls behind. When something fails, shoppers leave the product page and head straight to search. They do not want brand language. They want the reason their order will not go through. That's the lesson brands keep relearning the hard way. When systems fail, the stores with useful help content stay findable and keep the relationship intact. The stores that go silent lose traffic and trust at the same time, which is a very efficient way to make a bad day worse. Think about the words people actually type in that moment. They search for service down and order not going through. In e-commerce, those become checkout error. Order confirmation missing, promo code failed, delivery tracking not updating, or my account won't open. Those searches aren't random. They're a customer trying to keep buying or recover access. If your support content answers the problem clearly, you stay in the path of the search instead of disappearing behind a dead homepage banner. That's why outage support belongs in SEO planning and site architecture. The page set needs to exist before the break happens. Once the fire starts, nobody wants to admire the sprinkler system. Why outage help pages earn search demand when people need answers fast. During an outage, people search in a very specific order. They want confirmation first, then scope, then next steps, then a time estimate. If they can't get those answers quickly, they keep searching until they find a page that speaks their language. That order matters for e-commerce because a shopper with a failed card charge or a frozen cart is trying to figure out whether the problem is theirs or yours. A generic homepage message rarely helps. It looks polished and says almost nothing about the exact issue the person typed into search. Google's helpful content guidance and search quality rater guidelines point in the same direction. Pages should satisfy the user's intent with clear, useful main content. For outage searches, that means naming the problem up front, showing a visible update time, and giving direct instructions. Search systems can read that structure, and shoppers can use it without squinting. The pages that earn demand before trouble starts are straightforward. A live status page that shows current service health. An outage FAQ that answers common questions in plain language. Incident updates that explain what changed and what's still affected. Help articles for common failures like checkout errors, login trouble, or delayed delivery notices. These pages can rank for branded searches and broader queries when they use clean titles and plain headings. A page called Payment Declined During Checkout will match a real shopper faster than a vague support hub. Visible timestamps also help because outage searchers want the newest answer on the page. For e-commerce, the search demand shows up in familiar places. A customer who can't complete payment searches for checkout problem. Someone locked out of an account searches for login issue. And a shopper waiting on a parcel searches for delivery delay or tracking not updating. Good support content catches those searches while the purchase is still alive. The support pages that should already exist before anything breaks. Every store needs a minimum set of outage pages ready before trouble starts. That set should include a live status page, an outage FAQ, a general help article for service interruptions, and dedicated pages for payments and login. Waiting until checkout breaks is a good way to find out how slow your content workflow really is. Each page needs to answer the same basic questions in plain language. What's affected, who's affected, what the user can do right now, and where updates will appear. If a shopper lands there because a payment failed, they should know whether the issue is with cards, wallets, or the checkout flow. A status page should act as the front door for incident updates. An FAQ should handle recurring questions, such as whether saved carts are safe, whether order confirmation emails are delayed, or whether promo codes are failing across the site. A general help article should explain what service interruptions look like and how customers can check back for progress. Issue-specific pages carry the heavier load because they match the exact problem searchers type. That means pages for checkout errors, payment declines, login blocks, delivery tracking gaps, and account access problems. Those pages should use stable URLs and readable headings, with copy that sounds like a person wrote it after reading the actual support tickets. Internal jargon kills usefulness fast. Gateway timeout in the authentication layer means nothing to a shopper who just wants to finish an order. We're seeing payment failures for some cards makes the problem understandable. Treat these pages as part of the site's public information layer. They deserve the same care you give category pages and product pages because they shape how customers experience the brand when things go wrong. A broken order confirmation, a stalled cart, or a missing delivery scan can turn into a search query in seconds. And the page that answers it becomes the brand voice at that moment. How to write outage content that people can scan in seconds. When shoppers land on an outage page, they're usually on a phone and annoyed, checking whether they can keep shopping or need to stop refreshing. The page has to answer fast. Nielsen-Norman Group's research on web scanning shows people skim in an F-shaped pattern, and Google's guidance on page structure and headings points in the same direction. Clear hierarchy helps readers and search systems understand what matters. Nielsen-Norman Group Google Search Central. Start with a one-sentence summary at the top. Say what's affected, who it affects, and whether the issue is still active. Then add a clear update timestamp right under it so people can tell if the page is fresh enough to trust. If a checkout outage is hitting only one payment method, say that plainly instead of making customers decode an internal system label they've never seen. Short paragraphs matter because stressed readers do not read like they do on a quiet desktop session. They scan one screen at a time for shipping status and login access, along with cart behavior and whether saved addresses work. Keep each section to one idea, use direct headings, and put the answer near the top so the page works for the person who has 30 seconds between refreshes. Bullets help when you need to name affected services. A simple list can cover checkout and account login without burying the point in a paragraph that takes too long to parse. That structure also gives search systems clean pieces to extract for snippets and summaries, which is where a shopper will look during a disruption. Plain language wins here. Say, payment failed, order history, and discount code before you say anything internal, because customers use the words they already know from the storefront. A readable outage page is easier to index, easier to quote, and easier to trust, which makes it part of search visibility in the most practical sense. Why status pages and help articles need to be searchable, not hidden. Support content falls apart when it hides behind a login wall or sits under a label nobody would click in a hurry. If a shopper has to guess whether service notices means payment issues or shipping delays, the page has already failed. During a disruption, people search from the homepage, a footer, the help center, and the cart, so outage information needs to be reachable from each of them. Internal links do the heavy lifting. Put clear paths from the homepage, footer, help center, checkout, and account pages to the current incident update so customers can find it from any part of the store. This also helps search engines connect the incident page and the rest of the site, which matters when someone types a query like site down checkout not working or order tracking unavailable. Titles and meta descriptions matter because they shape the result people see before they click. A vague title like update wastes the moment, while a direct title that names the affected service gives the search result a real job. If the page says payment processing issue affecting checkout, a shopper can tell immediately whether the problem touches them. Duplicate pages create noise fast, especially when support and operations each publish their own version of the same incident. One page should own the update, and every other mention should point back to it. If 3 teams post separate notes about the same cart failure, search signals split, customers see conflicting wording, and no one knows which page is current. Discoverability is part of support design. A page no one can find won't cut ticket volume, calm a frustrated buyer, or stop the same question from hitting live chat all afternoon. The store needs one obvious place for the truth.
Then a web of links that gets people there fast.
How outage content lowers support load and protects trust. Clear outage updates cut repeat contacts. When shoppers can see that checkout is down or order confirmations are delayed, they stop sending the same message through chat and email just to check whether anyone noticed. That matters because support teams get crushed by the same question across every channel the moment something breaks. Fast answers and self-service are what customers expect. And Zendesk's CX Trends reporting has long pointed in that direction through its support research. Zendesk CX Trends. During a service problem, a public incident page gives that expectation a place to land. It reduces uncertainty, which is the real engine behind the volume spike. Trust gets built in the ugly moments. If a shopper sees a plain language incident summary, a known issues list, and a next update promise, they can judge the situation without feeling ignored. That honesty matters in e-commerce because customers remember whether a brand was easy to reach when the cart froze or shipping estimates vanished. Useful content patterns are simple. A known issues list tells people what's affected. A plain incident summary explains what happened in normal words. And a next update promise gives them a time to check back instead of refreshing every 2 minutes. Those details keep the relationship intact while the team works on the fix. That's the real point of outage content. It keeps customers from feeling abandoned. A store that communicates clearly during a failure earns more patience than one that leaves people guessing. And that patience matters long after the incident ends. What e-commerce team should fix before the next outage? The next outage will expose the same weak spots unless you map them now. Start with the failure points that affect buying, including checkout, login, shipping estimates, payment errors, and account access. Then, draft the help pages that would answer those problems before support queues fill up. A lean team needs a simple owner and a clear update path. One person should own the outage page set, even if they pull in ops and CX for input. The workflow should say who writes and who approves, because confusion spreads faster than a broken cart. To learn more, visit heysprite.com today.